Ciao ragazzi, my name is Anthony. Thank you so much for tuning in to Football Worldwide. First thing first, politeness first before I introduce my amazing guest. Thank you very much to the 13 new subscribers in the last 3 days and the 90 new followers on Facebook for Football Worldwide. It's been a really, really nice last few days, and I can't do this without you. I also can't do this without these three gentlemen today. Riccardo, all the way from Sicily. It's so good to see your face again. And I said off camera, it's the first time I've ever seen you in a jumper, bro. Haha.
Thanks, guys. Really nice to be back. Missed you a bit on the show. I've been following you and supporting you, and early morning for me, but I'm really happy to be on the show, guys. Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Adam, welcome back, my friend. Nice typical Jose win this morning. I can't wait to dissect that. That was the most typical Jose win I've seen in my life. Well done.
I was going to say, Roma ha vinto. Roma ha vinto. So it's going to be a good show.
Nice one, bro. I love it. Amph, it's good to see you, my friend. Always good to see your face. Probably not so happy this time around, though, man.
Yeah, I was spewing last week, Anth. I thought I'd get my opportunity while we were top of the ladder to have the first hit at the roundup, but I'm back this week. We'll get our chance in the future, I hope. Good to be back, boys.
I think you will get your chance in the future. There's a brand new feature on this app that we use to record called Slides, which means I don't think I need to share my screen and do everything that I need to usually do. So let's test it out first of all by basically starting with Adam's side. If it works, it does work. Things are going to be good. It's a good day. I knew it was a good day when I woke up this morning. 2-0 for you, Adam. You get the victory this morning against Spezia. As I said, typical Jose performance, 2 goals from 2 defenders, but never looked out of control because, Spezia flirting with relegation. They'll be there all year. 3 important points, mate.
Yeah, look, Jose did say after the match that they worked on their set pieces for a good portion of training over the last couple of days, and obviously came to fruition because we scored from 2 corners. First one, Smalling off a ricochet, off a header back into the box from Tammy Abraham, and the second one was direct from the corner from Roger Ibanez. So good to see that what's happening in training is coming to light on the park. But you're right, Anthony. It wasn't the greatest of performances. Quite lackluster in patches, very slow at times, and our build-up play didn't really result in much with so many Spezia players behind the ball. We did open up a few times, but nothing concrete and nothing to write home about in terms of gilt-edged chances that we probably should have scored. And in saying that, Spezia did put us on the back foot in the second half on a couple of occasions where they could have scored. But look, I think the overall the better team on the night got the result. Against us who are struggling a little bit with injuries and form and a couple of suspensions as well. So especially this man behind me who was missing, and we really missed his leadership in defence, I thought, especially now that Smalling's injured as well. So it'll be good to welcome him back for the Atalanta game. But we can talk about what's coming up for us later on. But look, the most important thing this morning was the 3 points, again, in front of 45,000 home supporters, which is extraordinary considering it was a weeknight on a cold December night. And, our supporters just never let us down. So, look, 3 points in the bag, and we'll march on to Bergamo.
Yeah, you've definitely got the toughest fixture list out of any of us gentlemen and the top sides, and anyone in the top half of the table, really, over the next 4 games. You've got Atalanta, Sampdoria, Milan, and Juve. So these 3 points were very, very important. And, to be honest, how many points do you expect to get out of those 4 games just to finish off, mate?
Oh, look, we want to beat Sampdoria. If we can sneak a point somewhere between Atalanta, Juve, and Milan, it'll be great. But I'm not confident at all going into those 3 games against the heavyweights because of the fact that the way we're playing and also the personnel we're missing. Look, I'm not confident at all. But if we do, I'm happy to be surprised, obviously. But won't be too. I'll be disappointed if we do lose those games. But we've spoken about it before. Where we are as a team, I think it could be expected.
Yeah, Jose's pragmatism is what will get you over the line if you do get good results in those games. I'm very conscious of time tonight, but I still want to hear what Rica has to say about Mourinho and Roma, because we know that you sort of thought they were going to be a little bit hotter at the start of the season. Riccardo, are your expectations still that these guys can make the top 4? What's your opinion on them in the last month or so since we've heard from you?
Well, I'm stick for what I say. I think Mourinho is find the right team, the right town. Rome is really hot with the supporters, and that's showing him last night. Of course, that's the squad he has. The squad doesn't have a deep, and he also saying on the interview, you know, what I mean, Inzaghi from Inter can turn and see Vidal, Correa, Damian in the bench. He can turn and he can see no one, but.
Yeah.
That's I think he's doing well. Not probably as well we all thought at the beginning, but he's not gonna get fired any sooner. There's a project that he started probably in January. They will had a couple of players. You know, he recovered by Boca Mayoral after the problem there in the Conference League. So I think Rome it's a hard it's a hard team to beat, and I don't know if he plays Juventus in the next 3 games. I think something's going wrong there.
The fourth game. So it's
fourth game.
Atalanta, Sampdoria, Milan, Juve in that order.
That's the first of the return.
Yeah. Well, if you want to call it the return, because they're not in order.
It's not in order anymore. I thought Napoli was our first big game. I maybe got it wrong, but I think probably in the first 6 will be in the first 6 because I think Fiorentina is the surprise of this season.
Yeah. Just to finish off too, Jose went with a 3-5-2 in the Conference League during the week against Sofia, and he stuck with that against Spezia. So it'll be interesting to see if he continues with that formation, more out of necessity because of the personnel we have missing. But it has worked well in the last 2 games, so it'll be interesting to see if he goes with that against Atalanta as well. He'll probably revert more to a 5-3-2 than a 3-5-2, but we'll see.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Anth, you and I are going to have a little chat about Lazio, and, you know, we called them inconsistent from the start of the season. No better example than to use them right now. They've gone down 2-1 to Sassuolo in a game where they really should have tried to get at least a point out of this one. I know going away to Sassuolo is tricky, but your Maurizio Sarri and your Lazio, you really need to try and get some points here, man. You know, things are even more inconsistent for them. The things look like they were going well. Zaccagni got his first goal in Lazio colours following his summer move from Verona. However, all that seemed to do was awaken the beast within Sassuolo, man. Scamacca came dangerously close a couple of times, like he usually does. But it was Domenico Berardi after halftime who pulled it back to 1-1 before Raspadori slipped it past Strakosha. Bro, what else can I say? 2 goals, 5 minutes, and 3 points for Sassuolo, who are now in 12th place. Lazio are only 2 points ahead in 9th. It's not looking good, man, for Sarri and Lazio at all, Anth.
Yeah, I agree, Anth. Just too inconsistent. You know, you can get them playing really well and beating some top teams, but then just losing some games you think that they shouldn't lose. You know, they're heavily reliant on Immobile for goals. Let's face it. If he has a bad game up front, what really do they have there, you know? So I just don't see them challenging at the moment. You can't win, lose like they're going at the moment. How long has Sarri got? I mean, I don't think they'll get rid of him this quick, but his results are not very strong. You know, credit to Sassuolo. You look at the players that they've got in there, like the young Italians. I think I said in another chat they had 6 young Italians, or not young, but 6 Italians playing in the starting lineup. So good on them. You know, they've taken some big scalps over the last couple of weeks. Milan, Juve, now Lazio. And there was one other one where they, I can't remember off my head, but, you know, Sassuolo, again, a team that we thought was on the decline, are getting all these big wins against big clubs and doing it with a group of Italians, which is good to see. You know, I think Fratesi, Tuna, I'm not sure, Adam, whether he was, is he a Romanista? He come from Roma. He's a good young player too that's coming through. So, you know, they've lost Locatelli and brought in Fratesi, but Lazio have so much work to do. I won't be surprised, Anthony, if they continue to slide under Sarri and big problems there on the other side of Rome.
I'm not 100% sure about their financial situation. I know that their owner does not like to spend at all, but you know, in terms of digging themselves out of this hole, they're going to need more than just a couple of master strokes in the Mercato to turn this around in January. Where do you boys realistically see Lazio finishing at the end of the season? I'll start with Riccardo and we'll just go down and say it. Riccardo, where do you expect them to finish?
I think out of the cups.
Even out of the Conference League and everything, yeah?
Yeah, out of Europe. Because it was 4 in Champions, 5th Europa League, and the 6th Conference, and then the win of the Italian Cup. Or he does a miracle in the Italian Cup.
I thought it was 5. I thought it was 5 and 6 Europa League, 7 Conference League, but I might be wrong there, to be honest.
No, for Europe.
Oh no, you're right. You're right. You're
Sorry,
right, bro.
two Europa League plus the
Rico,
Uh,
you're right, bro. But go on.
sorry.
You're right. You're actually right. I just checked it. It is one spot to Europa, one spot to conference, as it says on Google.
Okay, yeah, that's
Yeah.
So I thought it was early morning, man.
No, all good. All
It's fine.
good.
I think out of the Euro this year, out of the Euro, or Juve drops even more, and then Lazio, the Juve could be dropping even more, and then Lazio gets a spot. But at this stage, the way they're playing, I actually watch this weekend after a long time. I watch Juve, I watch Napoli, Atalanta, Lazio, Sassuolo, and I was home, so I watched all this game. Yeah, Lazio doesn't look it's too on and off.
Yeah.
Too on and off.
Anth, your prediction? Where do they finish, man?
Very, very much similar to Riccardo. I think 7th or below at best for me, what I'm seeing in them at the moment. So I don't expect them to challenge anywhere near the top 4.
Adam, you must be liking the inconsistency on the other side of Rome. I definitely expect you guys to finish above them. Where do you think they will finish?
Oh, I'd like to see him relegated, Anthony, obviously. But no, look, in all honesty, there's so many peaks and troughs this season already amongst the teams outside of the top 4 at the moment that I can't even predict where they're going to finish. But I anticipate going on current form that they will finish outside of those places for Europe. It just depends, how they go in the second half of the season. It just makes their win over Inter just seem like a minor miracle that night. I think it's probably more to do in how off Inter were that evening at the Olimpico. But sorry, just to finish off on this game too. It's amazing, isn't it, how when a coach is given time, Dionisi I'm referring to, how quickly he can turn the team around when he's just given that extra bit of time. Because we were talking about his future on here probably 2 months ago. And now he's just turned it around completely with some stunning results. So credit to him and credit to his squad.
Absolutely, man. When you coach a mid-table club like Sassuolo, there is that little bit of less pressure where you will always get a little bit more time to appease the fans for sure. Moving on, Anth, we're going straight back to you, man. You needed this gentleman who, I swear to God, he just keeps impressing me every single week, even though he's quite poor for large parts of the game. I'm just going to let you take the floor, man. Udinese won, Milan won, not the result you guys wanted.
No, definitely not. Look, it was a disappointing week overall, Anth. Let's face it, we lost to Liverpool's B team in midweek, and we needed a response. And look, I wanted to see us exact some misery on the foreigners at Udinese. You know how I feel about them, but you never know how they're going to perform under a new coach. That new coach first game, they're up and about, and that's probably what we saw. They were, pretty energetic, had a different energy than under Gotti. It was interesting to see Pioli finally dropping Kessie, and in his comments, he said he wasn't happy with his form. But if I look behind that, I think there's more to that, and we'll hear a bit more about that in the next couple of weeks. He started with Bakayoko and Benacer in the midfield, and Krunic at left mid, and Brahim Diaz has had a big dip in form, but we don't really have another option at that 10 position. And again, I've been banging on about this for weeks, fellas. About us copying goals from errors from our central midfielders. And if you saw the goal we copped again against Udinese, Benacer with a poor ball, really, in the center of the park to Bakayoko, who was very weak, didn't protect it at all. One pass back, and, Magnan made a good first save, but Beto got the rebound and went 1-0 down. So another silly error. Look, Pioli finally come out after this game and said that, these errors have to stop. And, we're up to 5 or 6 or 7 now that we've been speaking about on this show in the central part of our midfield that have caused these goals. So, he's finally admitted it. He's got to do something about it. We can't keep losing these goals. We didn't really create much in the first half. Pretty poor performance, to be honest. But he didn't muck around at halftime, Pioli. 3 subs straight away. He got on, again, Kessie back in, Tonali in, and Messias in. And look, that suggests to me that he prefers Kessie in there, even though he dropped him, because as soon as things weren't going well, bang, straight in you go again. So, look, second half we pushed, but we didn't really create a lot, I'll be honest with you. Brahim's just can't finish in front of goal, had a few chances. And look, Theo was pushing forward, trying to get us some, opportunities, but just wasn't happening. And he even threw on Castiglieco and Maldini in desperation at the end. And look, to Samuel's credit again, his cross created the goal for Ibra. Ibra scores another acrobatic goal against Udinese, just like he did last year, if you remember his goal last year. Yeah. But these are games we've got to be winning, you know. Look, I'll take the point. We really need Rebic, Leao, Calabria back. You know, Rebic gives us that grunt up front. Leao gives us that quality, you know, to dribble a player and create. And Calabria, you know, gives you 110% every game. You know, will he change Brahim and move Messias into the 10 position? You know, if he continues his form, maybe that's an option. But then there's a big worry. We're relying on Ibra every game now. We've got no other strikers. Yeah. How many games can you play back to back? Okay, we're out of Europe. We only play once a week. That'll help. But we really need Giroud back as cover. And Pellegrini, let's face it, it's been a flop. But look, if you said to me at the start of the year, after 17 rounds, we'd be 1 point behind Inter. I think most Milanisti would take it. I do. I'm happy with that, considering the injuries we've got. I actually think it's better for us to be chasing you blokes, Anth. I don't think we can cope with being at the top of the ladder and being hunted. We sort of crumble a bit. So if we can be, you know, around about you guys, maybe Napoli, Atalanta, and just in the pack, you know, at the end of the season, anything can happen. I think we're still in with a good shot. But, you know, 2 points, I suppose, dropped. But let's go to our place fit again and see how we go from there.
Yeah, well said, man. Before I go over to Adam, you know, there is still cause for concern, and it has to come down to injuries, in my opinion, man, because you've only registered 8 points in your last 6 games, and, you know, waiting for the last few minutes for that man again, Zlatan, to rescue a point. The question needs to be asked now, after crashing out of Europe altogether, do you have the depth in order to challenge Inter and Atalanta and possibly Napoli as well? Because for me personally, you guys need to stay injury-free in the second half of the season. You're living proof of it at the moment. You don't win the Scudetto by beating top sides in the top 6. You got to win it by beating the teams that are below you, well below you, every single other side. Adam's got a question for Anth as well before we switch it back over to him. Adam, off you go, mate.
Yeah, Anth, just put your tactical hat on for a sec. Because you just spoke about it. Those balls that are being played into that central channel and being turned over in dangerous areas when you're on the back foot when that ball's turned over, do you think it's a tactical issue that, like, the instructions obviously coming from Pioli, in your patterns when you're playing out, you naturally see that happen where the 6 or the 8 gets a separation from their player and it's fed into them. And that Udinese goal was exactly that, where it didn't work. The Udinese midfield, they pressed on and then won the 50-50, and then you're obviously on the back foot. It's happened a few times now. Do you think that Pioli should just change the way you guys – I mean, there's a million ways to play out of the back, right? Do you think that Pioli should – his instruction on the training track this week should be to find another way? Because it's obviously not working.
Yeah, look, who am I to tell Pioli how to play, right? But when you look at it, you know, that I don't mind that ball into the 6 or the 10 and that penetrating ball. You want to play forward, yeah? You don't want to play side to side, side to side. Yeah. So I like that ball there. But as you said, Bakayoko was heavily marked. And Benacer, he had options left or right of him. He decided to play that ball. But the thing that happened after that is when he played that ball, he moved to the right to get a return, if you see it. And that just opened the space. And as soon as Bakayoko missed it or lost the ball, we were open, right? It was one pass through and he was gone. So, look, I think he's tried to change tactic maybe because Benacer and Kessie have been dribbling out of the back. This time, Benacer tried to play that penetrating ball and it didn't work. I'm all for it. If you can play that ball into an 8 or a 10 who's in space, go for it, yeah, because it opens up the pitch. You break down their first line and away you go. I just think we're not executing. We've got enough good players to do it. We're just not executing it well, making silly decisions. It's costing us goals, and we've got to change it. And just on your point, I do think we've got enough depth. If we're fit. I mean, we probably need to dip into the market with one more centre back now that Simon's gone. But I think if we've got a full squad, I think we can compete, and the depth's there.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, man. Going over to our friend Riccardo now to talk about obviously something that is not going very well at all. Points dropped in Venice. Things are looking grim. Lack of creativity, you could call it. I'm just going to go over to you, man. You know best, in my opinion. Go for it.
I don't know, man. I don't. It's actually embarrassing. watching Juventus at the moment. But I'm old enough to know that our era is ended. That's it, man. 9 years on top, and it happened in the 90s. Happened at the beginning of the 2000. It's end of a era, and the problem is I don't think it's related to the coach, man. It's just the players we have there. Definitely, we don't have a striker. You can't get rid of Ronaldo and put in Keane on. It's it's a suicide. So Caio George didn't have the chance, and I don't think it's what everyone thought it is. A lot of selfish on the players, especially Quadrado end of the first half, after a decent first half, let's say. But again, we're playing against Venezia. We're not playing against Inter or Atalanta. So it was selfish to not give the ball in the middle to Caio George, and then a good save of the goalkeeper in the second half on Bernardeschi, and that's basically everything from Juventus. Watching, the only good thing of Juventus was, you take the ferry, you go to the only stadium in the world. It's nice to supporters see, the team arrive with the ferry in an old stadium, the Penso, and yeah, man, I like. We're just not there. I think mistakenly played the Bala. They had a problem with Malmö, and then he risked it against Venezia when you got a Sule in the bench that we don't know how this guy is, but at least you can play with the same tactical you want to play with this new 4-2-3-1. You could have put Sule in instead to put a Caio George, but we'll never know that. So, it looks all confused all over the place, guys. Can't really say anything. I read the lot about giving to you and the supporters giving to you. If you're Juventino in the good and the bad. So I'm a true Juventino in the good and the bad. And when it's time to shut up, I don't say anything. But I'll watch the game, and honestly, I can't wait this year to end. And I don't think even the market is going to change anything, because we recover some points from the fourth spot, but it's a team with the financial problem we have. I don't know. You got to risk to buy players that not suit in your team, and then you're not going to even reach the Champions Leagues. I don't know. They might stick with this team here. I still think maybe Ramsey, Arthur, and Caio George will leave the team, and one striker and one midfielder come, but that's all. Maybe. So, sorry, Andrew, I don't have a lot to say. Man, that's the Juventus, man.
You've said plenty, man.
The Juventus. I'm honest. I'm not going to say this and that. And we play a good November. I didn't been a show for over a month, so November was good. We recovered some point, but the problem is always the same. 20 chance with the Genoa, no one score. We had a couple of chances with Venezia. Morata is not the striker we can take us to the probably to Europe this year. We'll be risking even to go to Europe. Hard to say, but that's the truth. So I can't really say anything, man.
You've said plenty, man. You're always honest. That's why I always love talking to you, my friend. I do think that it can't be the manager. There's no way it can, because how are you going to go from Allegri to Sarri to Pirlo to Allegri and blame it on the manager? It just doesn't make sense. There's a core group of players and the mentality that has trickled into the squad because focal points and icons are no longer there. You lose Buffon, you lose the greatest goalkeeper of all time, and probably mentally and psychologically one of the strongest athletes that's ever played the sport. You lose Cristiano Ronaldo, who is basically, in my opinion, the most headstrong athlete that walks among the pitch in the game. These are icons that are leaving the club. And, it takes a lot to ask a man to step up in the dressing room and in the club. And at the moment, the players at Juventus just don't really have the courage to step up to that leadership. I'll go to Adam and Anth for a question each or a comment each on Juventus before we move on. Adam, starting with you.
My comment was actually about Venezia. And I was just going to ask about what you guys think about Adamo, because we've spoken about Giovanni Simeone at Hellas Verona, and I think Adamo is the equivalent of Venezia at the moment, where he is that X factor of in one of those teams that either mid or lower end of the table, where his future sits. Do you think that he will eventually go to a bigger club, or do you think that this is his level?
Man. How old is he, Adam? How old is he?
Yeah,
sure.
Who are you talking to? Sorry, Adam, which player are you talking?
Adamo.
For Venezia.
Adamo. Honestly, man, I didn't see Venezia as the strong team, man. I think Juventus is really bad.
He's 26.
26. Okay.
Yeah, I think middle. He's a guy who can play in a middle table team.
He's
Yeah,
peaked
great.
too late. He's peaked too late, in my opinion, Adam.
Yeah,
26
peaked too
years
late,
old. He's never played top-level football before,
No.
man.
No.
Well, Matthias Jr. is living proof that, you know,
That's true.
and in the modern game,
Yeah, but guys,
we're
playing with
still
Juventus today, it's every decent player will look good. So,
yeah, but as we know, 30 is not old anymore in
No.
the modern game with all the sports science. So, you know, 26 for me is still youngish. And I just felt that he's probably one to talk about now because we've spoken about Giovanni Simeone so much, and I think they're in the similar mold. But again, who knows? He'd probably go to a bigger club and flop. So,
yeah, but if you see, honestly, like technically, if we see the goal of Venezia, where the Rabiot was going to cover for him, and Rabiot, how Allegri, I like Allegri like to say about the horse, went on the Prado, you know what I mean, to walk the horse. He just you can't mark a person with 3 meters. And that al Prado and that you can't mark the place at 3 meters from where the player is. You know, it's just not it's not understandable. You know what I mean? It's not understandable. I went to watch a Celenza game in my town. There was a derby. Man, this guy play full speed. Like I couldn't believe how much. I didn't see a Celenza game for 25 years. But at least the guy played. They runs. They're angry. You know what I mean? But Rabiot just walk with this beautiful crest. Like it's like the Melbourne Cup, man. I don't know. It's just not suitable for Juventus. I think it's done his time. I
100%.
put a faith on him. It's just not there. And, you know, Bonucci putting his back like he always does. You know, I see guys here put their face when the ball goes. Bonucci put his back. 8 million a year or 7 million a year. I just don't know, man. I'll probably Anthony say this lack of leadership and it's a ciclo finito. It's when the ciclo is finito, it's finito. That's it, man. That's about it.
Anth, last comments on this fixture for Rico.
Yeah, just a quick question, Rica. You mentioned Caio George, and you're already saying, time to move on. I know Milan and Juve were fighting for him at the start of this year. Are you off him already? I haven't seen enough of him to say whether he's worth it or not. There's a big tabs on this kid, but you're saying get rid of him or not happy?
I had a hope. You know, when I saw him, I like it, for what I read and see, it's not the Ronaldo style, Ronaldo the Brazilian kind of style number 9. Okay, it's more the Firmino. So it's not a full 9. It's a 9 that goes back. And I saw him a couple of times playing. You know, coming in. I watched him also play in under 23. He's done really really well. He scored a couple of goals. Technique is much better than Italian same age players. But then going on the Juventus system, he couldn't find his position. And I don't know why he couldn't find his position. He didn't understand or just the way the team played, because Juventus was playing a 4-2-3-1. And when Caio George came in, it got confused because we had 2 strikers, but Caio George is not a striker. So we had 2 players playing, 2 strikers playing. You remember the old 4-4-2 with the 2 players taking out for the attacking side, and I don't think that is that kind of player. You know what I mean? I know it's more after play behind the 9 or just the 9. I can't read him really well, but I know for the way Allegri see it, this is a failure. And also, I don't know if it's more how you say it's more said go in playing 70 minutes and get substitute from Keane, the play a full game. You know what I mean? I think you should have leave him all game. Don't put a Keane and take him off. So
maybe he's one who goes on loan, Riccardo, somewhere for a couple of years.
I think he will go on loan because it's in Brazil is quite highly pushed, this guy. So maybe for the Juventus tactics at the moment, it's not. Listen, if it was a 40 class, man, he would do the 40 class thing. Definitely, it's not 40 class.
Yeah, fair enough. Thanks, boys.
I give it to
you.
Milan, man. Give us Leao.
Well,
swap.
Man, Pep's after Leao now. He's got his dirty mitts on Leao. It looks like. So
I think he's going to United.
Manchester
City.
City. Yeah. So we'll have trouble keeping him as well.
If you guys get a good offer for him, it'll be hard to knock back, man. It'll be
and
really
I want
hard
to say
knock
something,
back.
before I go on Inter Cagliari. You know what I mean? It's I watched Inter play. First time this year, I watched a full game of Inter, sitting on the couch, and man, I think Inzaghi, I give him my congratulations to Inzaghi. He's done a great job. Of course, you're facing Cagliari, that, again, Venezia.
They're horrible.
Horrible to watch, Cagliari. Horrible to watch. I don't even think someone's putting Joe Paulo as a striker of Italy. Give me a break, please. I put Scamacca any time of the day without his non and papa. But because he's non and papa, I can delinquent him, man.
Yeah.
So, Inter looks good, looks strong, look confident. That every player know what to do, and it was a great game to watch. And I congratulate Inter. I think this year they will go all the way, and also with the draw with Liverpool, they will play the game. I think everyone knows Liverpool is a different level, but on European Cups, guys, what is the team is today? You got to see what is in February, the form. And the example is Napoli. Napoli was a great form for the first 3 months of the season, and then the drop. Surprisingly, the drop really bad. I watch also Napoli-Empoli. Empoli beat the Juve and Napoli away. So that's all. Thumbs up for Andrea Drazzoli what he's done it. But Inter looks stronger, and I watch Atalanta too, and Atalanta looks stronger too this year. So I think it's between these two the race, and the outside that would be the Milan and Napoli. How Anthony said before, if they can stay on the pack. At the hand, anything can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Riccardo, I'm conscious of the time, man. I just want to say thank you so much for coming on to Football Worldwide today. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, my friend, and we'll see you very soon, yeah?
It was my pleasure, boys, to be in. Say hi to all the guys in Australia and keep up. And if we not see before Christmas, I wish everyone a wonderful Christmas and a Happy New Year. And hope 2022 brings everyone happiness. Definitely talk to you soon, guys. Love you.
Thank you so much. Ciao, Rico.
Ciao, guys.
Ciao, brother. Very nice. Staying on my gentleman here, and I'm going to go over to Ant first, man. Every time you come on here, and I swear to God, the next image, if I remember correctly, is Hakan as well. Bro, this guy is just balling out. That third goal was a peach, and it's not just the goals, bro. It's just his play in general. Inzaghi's got this guy tracking back all the way to defensive mid. I know it's just Cagliari. Everyone needs to chill, but it's not just been Cagliari. It's been 8 or 9 teams now. Look, I understand he went to Madrid and didn't have a great game. Could someone please point me in the direction of anyone in anyone's team ever that has a good game against Real Madrid? Eventually, this team will learn, and there'll be no quicker way for them to learn in February against Liverpool. But in my opinion, everything's going as well as it can possibly go under Inzaghi. I was 99% sure before that Inter would qualify for the Champions League. I'm now 101% sure that we'll be in the top 4 at the end of the season. So at the end of the day, the goal of making the top 4 and reaching the round of 16 for the Champions League, it's the 14th of December, and our manager has already accomplished that against all odds, to be honest. That's all I've had to say. I talk way too much about it on Inter Worldwide. Anyway, Anth, over to you first, man.
Look, the man on screen that you had before. Yeah, look.
Oh, he'll be back, don't worry.
He's got fire in his belly. And, look, I don't like him as a person. That's, for what he did to Milan. But the way he's playing at the moment, what can you say? I think it was last week. I think it was the lead up to the goal where he did this little 1-2 flick. I can't remember which game it was. And he looked so sharp, yeah?
It was against Roma.
Yeah, against Roma, yeah. And he just looked so sharp. And I thought, bloody hell, that's the Hakan that's at his peak when he played like that for us. We loved him, yeah, because he's very hard to stop. The goal against Cagliari this week, everyone knows he can strike a ball, yeah. He can hit a ball very, very well. The defending was terrible outside the box. That Cagliari defender just let him walk past him. But still, you've got to finish that and put it top corner, yeah. So as a human, different discussion. As a player, yes, he's doing excellent. He's doing exactly what you needed him to do. And when I look at Milan's squad at the moment with Diaz struggling, that's where he could have come in and given us that hand in this form. 100% you guys will finish top 4, I agree. Inzaghi's got you playing unbelievably well. You're the form team in the league. It's for the rest of us to try and catch you now, yeah? I still think it's such an even league that it will come down to the end of the season where we're all going to be under pressure, hopefully, and we're all fighting for that championship. But now Lautaro's, scoring goals. I think it was it Barella's assist to him this week?
The Barella assist was to Alexis Sanchez and the finish, and it's definitely a contender for goal of the season so far. There is a little stroke of luck in it with Barella's like barely looking where he's putting that ball, but that's exactly what Barella can do, man. Like that's out of his skill set.
Exactly. And, you know, how are you feeling about Barella now, Anth? Because a couple of weeks ago, he was out on his feet. He's looking sharp again, yeah?
Mate, the thing is with this tactical shift under Inzaghi, Barella is made to basically drop deeper and help cover for Brozovic so much more than he was in the reserve system under Conte, in where he could systematically like sit back permanently and he'd be one of the attacking three, the other two being Hakimi and Lukaku, who played with the ball in front of goal on the counter-attack transition. That was the triangle. It was Barella compensating with Hakimi on the right-hand side and Lukaku running off them. It happened like clockwork, 38 games throughout the season, and now it's completely finished. And at the moment, Barella, he's playing a lot wider. He's picking up the ball. When you watch his heat map, man, it's like a right wing forward. It's like a Dembele for Barcelona position half the time, where he's picking the ball up, and his decision making is not as in front of him with time and space, if that makes sense, as it would have been before. And I think that we just need to be a little bit patient, as I said on Inter Worldwide, with our best player of the last 2 years. Give the guy the benefit of the doubt, because he had a very good game against Roma when all he needed was 4 days rest. Then he didn't have a great game against Real Madrid. He bombed out mentally and physically. And now 4 days later, he's put in a massive shift. Yeah, I know it's against Cagliari, but if that's the bare minimum for a world-class player coming back and putting in a shift like that, there's no reason to complain about it, man, in my opinion. What do you think?
I agree, man. The quality is undisputed in that kid, yeah. We know what he can do. I think he just needed a bit of a break, get some fitness and sharpness back, and he controls the midfield. I love him as a player, to be honest. I just love his work rate. The way, you know, he's got a bit of a screw loose sometimes, but sometimes you need that as a player. You need to play on the edge a bit, and then that's what gives you that edge. So for me, he's a starter. And the other player there, I know a couple of weeks ago you weren't too fond of him, Dumfries, or well, you know, he's sort of looking okay now as well. Again, it was Cagliari, but I think everything's just fallen in place for you guys. You've got Salernitana, I think, this week while we go to Napoli. You know, you could extend the lead even more. And we just can't let you guys get too far ahead of us, because once you start, you know, if you're the 7 points like we were, I think it's game over for us, because then we're chasing and we're making mistakes. We have to be within 3 to 4 max to actually challenge by the end of the year. Fair
enough. Over to Adam to finish up on Inter.
Yeah, just a couple of points. Just on Barella, I think, look, we've seen him prove it on the world stage at Euro 2020, and I'll give him a little bit more credit for that ball to Alexis Sanchez. I think it's credit to Inzaghi and the way he set the team up in your front third. I think, again, that's from the training park. He knows that Sanchez, a player, not necessarily Sanchez, is going to be running into that space when he's got the ball in that area. And it just came off. So they're things that are practiced on the whiteboard and on the training track. So I don't think there was much fluke in that. I disagree a little bit in terms of it's going to come down to the wire. I personally think, and I think I've said it before, that I think they'll pull away. I think Inter will pull away, and I reckon that they'll probably end up winning the league by roughly around 10 points. That's just my opinion. We'll see what happens. And look, I'm happy to be proven otherwise. It'd probably be better for the league for it to be close right until the death. But we'll see on that one. Yeah, the last thing I wanted to touch on was the form of Bastoni. I'm loving the maturity. I'm seeing this progress in this young player. Hopefully, he's given more time for the Azzurri as the year progresses through friendlies and then come in March. I think he's probably ahead of Acerbi at this point in time. Yeah. But you know, we'll watch the space on this one. But for Inter, I'm loving. I actually made a comment on one. I think it might have been our chat or a group chat with my mates that, like watching him play, you feel like he could literally play any position, because he plays that centre back role and then drifts to the left and then ends up on the edge of the front third when you guys are pushing forward, and he's knocking balls in. He's winning the ball back. He's winning tackles on the edge of the front third. He's dribbling into the box from that left side. So you know he's got so, and for his size, and he's just really, really mobile. And as a central defender, that's just so like it's the Alessandro Nesta mold, where you're just so mobile, but you're a huge figure.
And he's aggressive. He's aggressive, Adam. You remember against Wales in the Euros how aggressive he was in that game? He was smashing his players, borderline, how he was playing. But again, I love that. I love those players that are so aggressive, and play like that.
Not only that, he's ridiculously confident on the ball and loves to make a run as well. And not only that, get him into the right position on that left-hand side, just inside or just outside the 18-yard box, and he'll shoot for days, and it might even come off 1 time out of 10.
Yeah. I just think he's going to develop into this Materazzi. I mean, not as crazy as Materazzi was, but he's going to be that type of defender for you for many years to come. And hopefully that bodes well for the national team as well.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you to these gentlemen. It's been a very good episode so far. If you are watching it, make sure you like and subscribe. And a big hello to everybody who's listening on just the audio platforms. Probably a favor that you don't need to see our faces. Oh my God, this guy, and Amp is shaking his head like it's a joke, man. If they had leverage, if Comiso didn't have leverage at the start of the season over this guy, he's got leverage up his culo now. 70 million asking price for January for this guy, and rightfully so, man. I can't say anything anymore. Amp, Vlahovic, and let's give a special shout out to Jack Bonaventura, who is absolutely having quite possibly one of his best seasons in Serie A under Fiorentina. What happens, Amp, bro? They just go away and they just shine.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. I don't know why it's happening, but I love Jack. He did everything he could at Milan, and his goal this week was beautiful. What a goal, But Fiorentina 5th on the ladder now. I think they're sitting 5th on the ladder. So again, we've got another challenger that's popped up. If I was Milan and we had the cash, this is the man I'd throw everything at. Right, just throw everything at him. I don't think we can afford him, but he is exactly what we need up front. He could learn off Ibra. He's got that physique. He's got that power. He can finish. I don't think we can afford him, but he's exactly what I think we need for the future at Milan, because we've got 30-plus-year-olds and 40-year-olds up front. This is the man. If he continues like this, he's going to take them to good things this year. I'd love to see him in the Champions League. I'll be honest. Fiorentina, they haven't been in Europe for a while. I think back in the day they did okay, but yeah, they're hard to beat. They beat us. You guys, a massive win there. Now, if you look at it, you guys went to Firenze and had a good win. So, that's one that's out of the way for you. Not many teams are going to go there and beat them.
Yeah, fair call. Adam, did you have anything to add before we move on to the next game, mate?
I'm just thinking about what sort of figure Comiso is going to be asking for, and if January is the actual right time for the move. Like, do we actually think? Can we narrow down which clubs are actually going to be prepared to pay that much money for him in January?
I don't think any club in Europe, man.
Yeah, Juve's touted as the club that might make a play for him. I don't think they can afford that type of money at the moment.
Where are they going to get the money from? Yeah.
Yeah. So he's going to have to go abroad if someone's going to pay it. But who needs him, right, out of the top clubs? And 2, who's got the money to splash for him? Like, I can't think of anybody apart from maybe Barcelona. But
Barcelona don't have the money either. The only club I would say is Manchester City, because if you actually watch them quite closely, they actually haven't had a hitman or a target man since Aguero dropped off form and dropped off fitness. And, God bless the brother. I don't think he'll be playing anymore. An absolute legend at the time, unfortunately. But at the end of the day, Vlahovic should be the man because they play with a false 9 most of the time, unless they start Gabriel Jesus, who's just not that physical striker presence that you want in the Premier League. That's why he gets shafted and rotated so much throughout his career. That's the only one I could think of. And the only reason I could think why they're not spending that money is because maybe Pep's time at City, he's looking for another challenge in the next year or so.
Maybe Newcastle United will make the statement. Like they did.
If they get relegated, they might get relegated. That's the problem. They're not going to go there if they're relegated, right? And I'd be shattered if he left Serie A. I mean, I'd love him to stay in Serie A. It's just those players we need. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think many players can, clubs can afford him, like you said. If Milan sell Leao, maybe, we sell Leao to Man City and we raise some funds. Who knows? But that's a pipe dream.
These days, it's all about partial payments anyway. No club anymore is going to put the full 70 mil up front. They'll just pay partial payment it out. Moving on, this particular day that actually kicked off the Serie A match day on a nice windy Saturday morning. It was really nice to get up and watch. Oh my God, Genoa suck. They suck almost as much as Cagliari and not as much as Salernitana, but they are so crap. and they need to be relegated. And I'm going to keep saying it on both channels. I've been saying it for 2 years. They need to be relegated. This was the most one-sided Genovese derby I think I've witnessed in the last decade. Even if the scoreline doesn't completely suggest it was a blowout, this was a blowout. Shevchenko got his first goal for Genoa, but his 3 losses on the bounce. Remember how optimistic we all sort of looked when he took over? Now, I'm still looking for a betting market online that can get me Ballandini back to Genoa so I can feast.
Well,
lost that.
No, that's all right. Did you watch this one, Ed?
Yeah, I did. Did you watch it also? Yeah. You go first.
Watched it. No, I was just going to say it was look, that stadium, man. Like, I always loved watching that stadium when it's packed out. But no, I agree with Ant that Genoa side is just like it's just terrible to watch. I mean, I actually feel sorry for Shevchenko because an icon of the game and an icon of Serie A coming to that misery of a club and a team at this point in time. It's probably not. Look, you always want to be coaching when you're a coach, right? But it's probably not the job that he should have taken. And Sampdoria capitalised on that. I just thought they were the better team. It was a really enjoyable game to watch because of the stadium and the atmosphere. But I don't see either of those teams challenging for anything this season. And we just know what's going to happen, though. We know it's going to get to the last or second last match day, and Genoa will survive by the skin of their teeth like they always do.
Yeah, they're just lucky that there's some crap down there as well. That's what's going to save them because they are rubbish, right? And I've watched their last 3 games, obviously against Milan, Roma, and Roma, I think, and this week against Sampdoria, and they're rubbish. I'm devastated for Sheva. I really am because we love him, and he's got nothing to work with there. I think he took the wrong job. Maybe it was too tough of a gig for him to come into Serie A and take that gig. I watch your man closely now, Anth, every week, Calandrella, and he impresses me more and more. He's got a new lease of life, working, running like under Conte. He was like that, just worked. Yeah, I'm seeing the same thing at Sampdoria, and I'm with you. If he continues this form, why not have him in the Italian squad? Someone with that grunt that can create, work hard back and forth. Put him in.
Put him in.
He's earning it.
Yep, absolutely, man. He's just gone from being a small fish in a big pond to being the biggest fish in a small pond, man. And he's just showing that leadership that he showed at Inter under Spalletti, and then he just became a part of that core of players that I like to call, the unsung leaders of the locker room, your Ranocchios, D'Ambrosios, Darmians, the one that know the true weight of the badge on your shirt and will fight hell for leather for that. But moving on, guys, it's been a brilliant edition of Roundtable, but we've still got a bit more to cover. Time flies when you're having fun. Oh my God, how lucky was this goal? Man, Cutrone will never score a luckier goal. The former Milan Fiorentina Wolves player. And Spalletti loses at home. I know they've got injuries, but I swear to God, this is the most Spalletti thing to happen, man. December is not his month. He must be a pain in the culo at Christmas around his family, man. And not good, bro. They're down to 4th now, Napoli, and we won't go on it too long because we have to acknowledge that our good friend Armando is not here to defend them properly. But how are you feeling about their little slip in form?
Obviously, I'm happy because, it helps Milan. And speaking of Amo in our chat, I put a little thing on there saying, hey, how good that Cutrone scored the winner, a little bit of banter with him. And he said, not Cutrone, Culone. Did you see his goal? And then I said, yeah, it was one of the luckiest goals you'll ever see. But they had their chances again. Yeah, they just couldn't finish. But credit to Empoli, man. Where have they come from? Out of nowhere. To be, mid-table. No one would have expected that from this team. Napoli are in big trouble with injuries. I mean, Armo's not here to explain it, but, he's all over their injuries at the moment, playing, every 3 days. Armo wanted them out of Europe like we did. If we didn't qualify for the Champions League, let's just get out of Europe. Napoli's still in it. February, again, I think the games come across playing every 3 days. Their depth will be tested. So it's danger signs at Napoli now, whether they can keep up with you guys and potentially us, and Atalanta are in form. So thanks, Empoli, for doing us a favor, and thanks to our old boy there. We love him still. He gave everything for Milan, and he's got the result.
Yeah, shout out to Empoli, man, up into 8th position on the table. I've never seen them that as high in Serie A in my life, so big ups to them. Adam, your comment on this one?
No, the funniest thing for me was seeing his celebration. Like he just ran off, taking the piss out of Napoli Dani like he meant it. It was unreal. Anyway, I did take a keen interest in this game. Watched it, and look, it was just one of those classic games where the better team doesn't win. Napoli had so many chances, especially in the opening half hour, to score 3 or 4 goals. My comment was, I've been watching Insigne closely, and his movement within the front third over the last few weeks, and I've just got to. What he does, I mean, we all know what he does, right? So he gets the ball out wide, cuts in. If you can feed it through, he does. If he takes a shot, he takes a shot. Since that goal against Belgium in the Euro, right? We know that he's always going to cut in and go far post. I just think, and keen to get your opinion on this. I think when he cuts in, he always goes to the far post, right?
Yeah.
Even when he's darting into the box at an angle, I reckon they've worked him out because his precision and his accuracy of shot is so good that a good portion of the time he scores the goal. But if you watch the keepers now, keepers are moving before he hits the ball.
Yeah.
So you watch Vicario. Insigne got about 2 or 3 chances during this game where he did exactly that. He got the ball cutting, went far post. Vicario was already on the move and saved it, right? So I just think that the keepers now and defenders are a little bit more switched on to him. And he's becoming a little bit predictable. So keen to hear your thoughts about that as well.
He's becoming predictable as well because he's just not as agile and fast. He's just getting on, man, and he's just way easier to read because he takes longer to line up the shot. It takes longer to hook the shot. Everything about it is just a more delayed form than what it was 5-6 years ago. To me, it's just physiology. He looks a little unmotivated as well. It wouldn't surprise me if where there's smoke, there's fire in terms of the rumors about him looking for another contract elsewhere. But to be honest, I wouldn't be impressed if he was to take up that rumored offer. I think it was to a team in the MLS. I forget which team it was.
Yeah, it was. I can't remember either.
What are your
Toronto
thoughts?
or something.
Yeah, Toronto. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? And then we'll move on.
I'll be quick, but I'll just challenge you on Insigne there. If he's still getting into those positions, so the defenders aren't stopping him, right? So for me, he's still getting into that shooting position. So to me, he can still execute. It's like you said, the keepers have maybe worked him out. So he's trying to put it in the far corner. If he was trying to get inside and he couldn't get inside and he was getting stopped by the defenders constantly, he's got a problem. But he's still getting into that position. That's where I think he still can execute there. Yeah. Personally, I think if he gets a shot on target, very hard to stop, like Belgium.
Yeah, fair enough. Second last fixture that we are going to talk about, and we're just going to move on quickly. Gasparini moves in silence as usual. Now that he's out of the Champions League, they will need to play on a later date. That Europa League could really be a pain in the cooler for Atalanta, to be honest, because they're not going to lose in the round of 32, in my opinion. They're also probably not going to lose in the round of 16. So they might need to make a decision how far they want to go in this competition. Otherwise, bear the burden that comes with being in this dreadful competition deep into the season. However, if they only had Serie A to focus on, if they were eliminated from Europe altogether, I'd be putting them in maybe even slightly bigger favorites than Inter to take out the Scudetto, because when they get momentum, it's really hard to stop this team. I would say this team in Serie A is the most likely to put together a winning run. Even last year under Conte, you saw Atalanta make a better winning run before we got eliminated from Europe, and then we just went absolutely, batshit crazy. But this Atalanta side, if they just focus on Serie A and if they can stay fit, they will be thereabouts. I really see them being there towards the end of the season. I'll ask the boys on their thoughts and opinions because, it's not easy to beat Hellas Verona this season. Well done to Giovanni Simeone, who scored his 12th goal. Unbelievable season for him so far. But, Anth, what are you saying about Atalanta? And also, I don't know if you've seen, Luis Muriel looks like he's available for about 20 M's January.
Yeah, I saw that, and he'd be a good pickup for any club, right? Any club challenging at the top of Serie A could do with a Muriel. So that'll be interesting to see what he does. I don't blame him. He's on the bench a lot, and his quality is too good to be on the bench for me. Because all the time he comes on, he creates something, he scores. He's a very good player. Atalanta are starting to really worry me. I actually had not written them off, but I didn't think they'd challenge this year. Earlier in the year, I thought, that their cycle's sort of done as well. And here they are sitting 1 point behind us and 2 behind you, and putting the pressure on big time. Gasparini's got them going again. I think that that would have been better to get out of Europe 100%. And that's what I'm hanging my hat on, is where they might fail in challenging for the Scudetto, depending how deep they go in Europe. But some of their players that they pull out, just constantly, like Malinovsky scored that strike this week again. Was it him again with the strike? He can't stop his strikes as well. He's another Çalhanoğlu with them. You're on mute, Anth.
He did score the one on the weekend, but it was Miranchuk who scored the first one.
Sorry.
In this particular game. Yep.
Yeah. And they're just these plays that come out of nowhere. Cooper Myers, now lucky goal, but he's another one that's come out of nowhere. And they don't even have Goossens yet back. So he's injured. So definitely a threat to, and I think this is their opportunity. If they really want to win a Scudetto, this is the year. Yeah. Right? This is the year where they can challenge Milan and Inter and Napoli. So yeah, I just don't know which way it's going to go with them. I hope they stay in Europe and they get tired.
Yeah, man, I called it from the start of the season. I said, everybody watch out for Teun Koopmeiners because he's the captain of AZ Alkmaar in the Dutch league. And there's a lot of pride that comes with being a captain in the Eredivisie. Like these Dutch players, you boys will agree, like these are some of the most disciplined players on the planet.
Yeah.
These guys know what it's like to focus. And I would say they've got that very work mind orientated when they're going to football. We're also going to work. And that's why
it fits Marini, doesn't it? That work.
It
that
really does.
His structure. Hey, Tuna, I just want to say, is there anyone in the world that pronounces players' names and clubs better than Privetera? No one in the world can pronounce these players as good as you do.
Oh, are you serious, man? Come on.
Not in Australia since Les Murray.
Piss off.
No, you got him all down pat.
Thanks, bro. That's very nice of you. Adam, bro, what are you saying about Atalanta, man?
Oh, man. Look, as much as I dislike Gasperini at times, I just love the way he's able to reinvent his play and get the best out of his players. And Anthony just spoke about these names that he just pulls out of the hat and turns them into these stars. But just watching their rotations, they just rotate positions so fluidly and just put teams on the back foot constantly. And as we know, Hellas Verona aren't a pushover this season since Tudor took over. So to get that win in Verona is massive because everyone's going to have a hard time going there this season. I've already said that I think Inter will win the title, but Atalanta will definitely go close and probably the closest. And I believe they'll probably finish second if they keep this momentum. But yeah, just unbelievable to watch. And they're always a good advertisement for Serie A, and that's what I love the most about them.
Yeah. Moving on to the final fixture, basically a good game. Two historic heavyweights fight it out for mid-table supremacy, but it's the Granata who take the points. Good win for Torino, man. They needed this one. The Paraguayan Sanabria, his last 7 goals have come at the Olimpico, so he's definitely loving the home crowd. A late Orsolini penalty, not enough for Bologna, but it is what it is. It's going to be a mid-table battle for these two teams all season. And when you look at the relative strength and context of Serie A, I think both sides are very much happy to work hard in training and very much happy to get the points that they need to make sure they go absolutely nowhere near the relegation zone. Gentlemen, this was brilliant. This was really, really fun to talk about on a Tuesday afternoon. Matchday 17 is done and dusted. A fair few fixtures coming up. Salernitana next for Inter. Milan, Ant, who do you guys have next again? Napoli, isn't it? It's huge.
Huge game. We must get the points against them, depleted at home. These 3 points must be. So let's see how we go.
What's your early prediction for that, man?
Look, I think just looking at Napoli's squad, I think Zielinski's out too now. Maybe he had problems. So big loss there. The injuries in midfield. Look, I'm going to say we can get over 2-1. I don't think we can stop them scoring. But I think we can take 3 points off them this week. Fingers crossed, we must. Because you guys have smashed Salernitana, let's face it.
Yeah. Thanks so much for coming back on, Anf. I really appreciate it.
No, great to be here. If I don't see you next week, Merry Christmas, everyone. But really enjoyed the chat, boys. Thanks.
Absolutely. Adam, quick prediction, man. You've got to go to Bergamo. That's going to be tough.
And I'm just quietly shitting my pants too.
Yeah.
So, look, as I said at the start of the show, just in regards to personnel, we're going to be underdone. And combine that with the form we're in, which isn't great, and add to that Atalanta's form, we're pushing shit uphill. But we'll go there and we'll do our best and hopefully snag something. But hasn't been a happy hunting ground for us in the last few years. So I'm not expecting too much.
Few go there and get the 3 points, man. So best of luck, and thank you so much for coming back on the channel, man. We always appreciate it.
Thanks. And hopefully be around next week. But otherwise, Merry Christmas to everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who's watching on YouTube and everybody who's listening on the platforms. Make sure you like and subscribe. It's been fun. I'll be back at some point soon. From everyone here at Football Worldwide, ciao ragazzi.